Yeah.
Anyway, welcome to Comics in the Making. My name is Ryan Holgerson. I'm the creator of Slackmatic, and I'm joined, as always, by Levi Erickson, the creator of The Big. Levi, how are you feeling?
Hey, without getting too deep in the woods on that, I'm feeling the best I've felt in a while. In fact, the
Yeah,
last time I remember feeling great was HeroesCon, and that's what we're talking about today, right?
we are. I mean, it's fun. This is, you know what? This is the end of the trilogy because our last two episodes were all about Heroes Con prep and what we were working on and drawing a line in the sand as far as like this is what you need, just stop. This is all you need. Spoiler alert, I did not take my own advice. I still tried to cram out some more stuff for this show. Um but Levi got the con crud of all con
Con,
cruds.
yeah.
Um got the con COVID and I don't oh yeah, here. Knock on wood. I'm knocking on the only wood I can find. I have not gotten it. And that's with spending 3 days standing right next to you, sharing the air,
Wow.
sharing nuts. Uh, you know.
That's so dirty when you put it that way.
Well, I'm just saying I put your nuts in my mouth and I still have not gotten COVID. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Monday I woke up and just, oh my God, I got con crud. This is bad. This is terrible. And it got worse and worse throughout the day. And took a test Tuesday morning. It was I had a fever by this time and yeah. Successful test. And and so you
Good
know,
job.
yeah, 4 days on my back. Um Later into Thursday started, the fever was gone by Thursday morning, got back on my started kind of getting sitting up in bed a little bit Thursday, started moving around a little bit Friday. Uh Today, feeling, getting out and around and starting to kind of like get where I would have been Monday after the convention, looking at the things that I got and reflecting on the experiences and you know just kind of putting my stuff away, reorganizing. Maybe you can tell my voice is still a little whatever, unusual. Maybe it sounds better. I don't know. And
Sounds sexy.
Oh, good. So this could be
Yeah.
an ASMR. Comics in the Making is delving into the ASMR realm, or maybe it's NPR. Welcome.
Oh yeah.
This is Comics
Do,
in the Making on NPR, National Public Radio.
that's a pretty good NPR voice.
I might have a future,
You might. You might.
but yeah, I'm feeling much better now, and I'm ready to kind of like let's do this post-mortem autopsy recap of HeroesCon 2024.
Yeah.
So Ryan,
So
yeah,
so I okay. I had a great time uh at Heroes Con. Uh like we said in our two previous episodes, this is kind of our biggest show as far as show size, length, uh expense.
yeah,
This is our biggest show of the year.
yeah. It's the most expensive show, and I have to go like 12 miles.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I was thinking about that too, that this is it's not my closest show, because we've done two in Rock Hill, so that's right down the road from me. But this is still I can be at the convention center in less than an hour.
Yeah,
Um and so but uh, yeah, it's it's expensive. It's expensive for us. It's a $325 table that we split, which is still a lot of money for both of us to split. Uh, Parking. I actually, I've talked about tracking my profits and losses throughout the year when it comes to comics. I put the parking on there for HeroesCon. Why not? Now I could have gone the cheaper route like Levi. Uh, Levi parked a little further away and paid probably almost half the cost of what I paid.
I paid
Um,
$36 for the entire weekend.
yeah, mine was 75. So a dollar over half or so.
Wow.
Actually, no, a little more. Anyway, we don't do math here.
There's a
Uh,
lot. If you're going to Heroes Con, there's a lot on Caldwell, just on the other side of the NASCAR Hall of Fame. $12 a day. Used to be 10. This year it's 12. And you just frogger across Caldwell and, right in the doors, up the stairs, over the breezeway. You're going over college. You can, you know, it's all fun. You're in the convention center. It's not that hard.
I know it's not. And I know I've parked there before, years and years ago. Uh, but I don't know. I was like, I know exactly where this is. I could go here. It's a little bit closer. I mean, because where I
It
parked
is a
was
little bit
connected.
closer. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was connected. It's connected to the NASCAR Hall of Fame and the Convention Center, which are all right there in Charlotte. And I was like, screw it. I'm gonna pay the extra money for the convenience.
Yeah.
But either way, had a good time. Got to meet a lot of people. Got to see people that we already know.
Hmm.
Um, and in all actuality, for me, at least in the last 10 years, I've done this show 3 times. Uh, this this was my best show that I've had there. Um, that being said, I still did not break even on what was poured into this.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's where
And
that's where drawing the line, kind of comes into play.
it no and yeah, and I swear to God, Levi, next year I need you. I need you to be like, because I'm gonna and here's the thing. Uh I don't know Levi's numbers. I think you did better than me, but I don't know how much better than me. Um but I still think I can safely say that we were probably around the same number or so. Um
Yeah, I would guess so.
but yeah, we've already signed on, at least filled out the preliminary application for next year. We're still gonna do it. Uh and maybe today's gonna be a therapy conversation on whether we should or not. And I'm still leaning towards wanting to do it.
No, yeah.
But what I need you to do for me is next year when we get to this, because I do this every time I do Heroes. When I go, oh, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. I need you to just shake me, just stop me and shake me, and be like, Ryan, stop. Like it's not, this is not that show, you know.
Yeah.
Um, and I think what I mean when I say it's not this show is uh I and I really do. I love this show. I think it's organized great. I think
Yeah.
the people of Heroes aren't hard to find putting it on. They do a great job. Um, just in little ways, they helped us out this weekend a couple
Oh
times,
God.
and I
Yeah.
truly appreciate everything they do. Uh, but I think when we talk about big shows and stuff like that, uh, I just don't see that many people going to these shows of this size and magnitude that are looking for new cartoonists anymore. I just don't see it.
Yeah. And that's, that'd be interesting, especially if we do some of these other larger conventions we've talked about next year, to kind of
Yeah.
contrast how they look and shape up in terms of, the different cartoonists and the people that are going there and what they're looking for. Now let's for people who aren't familiar with HeroesCon. HeroesCon's been a show since 1982 here in Charlotte. And Stan Lee was one of the first guests going back to that first convention. So they have always been involved with, the movers and shakers of comics, um, since then. So fast forward to 2024, the comic book industry landscape is hardly resembles what it did in 1982. Interestingly enough, you have a lot of the same people who would have been the movers and shakers of comics back then over here at HeroesCon now. You've got the legacy people. You've got some of the biggest names ever in comics in attendance. And, and it's not just a one-off either. So it is a place where you can go and you can see, Bob McLeod, Chris Claremont, Sternenko, um, Howard Mackey, Jim Palmiotti, I believe Bart Sears was there. So many people that I didn't even get a chance to figure out where they even were. Mike Grell. Um,
Yeah.
I don't want to leave people out. It's easier to say who wasn't there,
Yeah.
than who was. And that's your big names.
Yeah.
Naturally, those that's the title card. That those are when we were walking around before they let people in the exhibit hall, just expansive in the Charlotte Convention Center. And so it's almost an L shape, and in the L is where they have a lot of those big names and your really organized cosplay stuff going on. The 501st Legion people, they have their dioramas set up. The Klingon people, they're there. And Mystery Machine, Ecto One, the vehicles are there. So we came back around, and at this L, as we meandered back to the right towards the entry of the hall, that's when they opened up the show to the early birds, and you know what I'm about to say.
I do.
So we're heading back towards the center of the hall, kind of where our table is. And then here comes this inflow of dudes our age and older, and with stacks of books in their hands, and they're beelining towards the legacy guys. And they've got their comics, they want to get stuff signed. Beat the lines and whatnot. And what do we say? Was it you? Did you say it? Like,
No, you said you were like, there's a crowd of guys that want to buy some indie comics.
yeah.
And I'm not, look, you do you, everybody out there. But I'm telling you, if you had seen the sea of people coming in when we were walking by, it would have been every comic book guy cliche you've ever seen in your life.
It's like Evan Dorkin runs them
And
all.
oh my God, it was. It was. And I was like,
And no
well,
offense.
no. Hey man, if you want to wear sweatpants hiked up to your tits with a Captain America shirt on, you fucking go, man. You do it.
That's more
You do
comfortable than what
you.
I wore.
It sounds really comfortable. Hey, it's whatever. But I kind of, and it's not my first rodeo at Heroes.
Yeah.
Friday's always slow.
Yeah.
Friday is the day that you get those hardcore people in. It's a work day.
Mhm.
There's no the show's kind of centered around Father's Day. At least it was this year. Next year is going to be the week after.
They alternate, I think.
Yeah, but Friday's a work day, so you don't have as much of the crowd, and the crowd that does come out, they're beelining to those either legacy people or they're beelining to the retailers that might have specials or whatever they're looking
Mhm.
for. And Artist Alley is pretty pretty quiet.
Yeah.
I sold one book. I sold one book on Friday. Um, and that was to Jeff Williams. So thanks, Jeff. And uh, so I think it's important to mention that too, because I know we've got people out in the audience that, you know, maybe haven't done a big show like this, uh, or maybe haven't done a comic convention at all. And I always think it's really important to like keep that stuff in mind. And I know we've talked about it before, but comic conventions can either be like the best time of your life, or it can be the most demoralizing day you've ever had. Because you've got your when you're selling your own stuff,
Mm-hmm.
that's your baby. That's your heart on your sleeve. That's you know, I am selling a part of my soul to uh, to a swath of people that have probably never heard of me or seen my stuff.
Yeah.
And to just sit there for, you know, 7 or 8 hours and maybe not sell one book. I mean, I've had shows where I haven't sold one thing. Um, that can be, I think for some people, that could be demoralizing to a point where they quit. And
I can see
I
it.
think, yeah, and so I think it's important to keep that in mind. Comic conventions are not the end all be all when it comes to creating art and creating comics and getting your stuff out there. Um, I enjoy doing them. I can at least say as far as the shows this year, uh, Heroes is the only show I've done where I have not broken even or made a profit when it comes to the table.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the thing is, there's a lot of expense in Heroes. So to be honest, I really didn't expect to break even. Um, I wanted to,
Mm-hmm.
but I really wasn't. I was like, it's probably not going to happen. Um, So, you know, Friday was, you know, pretty slow, kind of a bummer. To a point, but here's the thing. Friday we saw Jeff. We got to hang out with Jeff for a while.
Yep.
Um, I saw a friend I hadn't seen in 20 years. Uh, came by and I got to chat with him. It was still a good time. We still had a great time. Um, you know, we just you know, didn't sell a lot of books. Uh, but Saturday was like pretty steady.
Yep. It was very
Lots
steady.
of good. Yeah, no. Saturday was pretty much straight through the day, you know. Had a good amount of traffic. We had a few points where we almost had a line at our table. You know.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Um, so it was you know, Saturday was good. Um, you know, we even me and Levi, we joke about this a lot, that if somebody buys something from me, they're not going to buy a book from Levi and vice
Yeah.
versa. And we've tabled at several shows together now at this point, and I think maybe now we have 3 times ever that
Yep.
someone's bought from both of us, but one of those times was Saturday.
Yeah.
Uh, somebody bought both of our books, so that was really great.
Yeah.
Um,
That was really cool. And you know, I remember thinking, yeah, people come and you get your stuff, they get my stuff, maybe people got the first mini comic last year, now they want to get the second one or even the collected edition, full size. Um, then that's great. But what I really want is at least one person to come up to the table to see the sign, because we had the sign, you had our banner, up above us, behind us, and above us. Um, I wanted one person to come up to us and go, "Oh, hey, I've seen your show. Now let me see your comics." And I thought we had that for a moment. This guy comes up to the table. Was it Sunday? No, it was Saturday,
it
wasn't
was Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he comes up and he goes, "Oh, my friend told me about you. He's a fan. He said I should find you guys, or I should find you." And it turns out he wasn't a fan of the channel. Probably didn't even know about the channel, but he knew about your band, the Mod Rats.
Well, yeah, no, it was because he was like, my friend told me to come see you guys. He's a fan of yours. And I think me and you were thinking the same thing. We were like, oh wow, he must watch the channel or whatever. And then he goes, yeah, he's a fan of your music. And I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
like, well, this is Levi's. Because I we talk about it a lot, but my band has been on hiatus for 7 years. And really that was just for reunion shows. It's been a long time. So I was like, for sure, this is for No Anger Control. And he's like, yeah, the Mod Rats. And I'm like, well, what the fuck? And yeah, so but you know what? You know what though? Whoever the fan was,
Yeah,
you
because we
either
still don't
didn't
know.
Venmo him the money fast enough or what, because he didn't get it. I even hung around. I hung around. I was like, I was waiting for this guy. Come on back. uh, but yeah, that was funny. Actually, I mean that was like right at the end of Saturday
Oh,
because
yeah, yeah.
yeah. Um but yeah, no, Saturday was a good day. And then Sunday was in between. Sunday historically is always kind of the slowest day on Heroes. Uh
Yeah, Sunday was decent though.
but it was. I had a couple sales and they were good sales. They weren't just, like $2 books. I sold one of my super packs or whatever, and
Yeah.
I had another sale or whatever. Um, yeah, no, it wasn't bad. Um, and but the highlight for me on Sunday had to be uh going to the Ed Piskor memorial. Um it Me and Levi both went, put my daughter in charge, well, both of our daughters in charge of the table. They sold nothing while we were gone. Um and anyway, the memorial was Chris Pitzer from Ad House Books, Jim Rugg, of course, uh uh Justine Piskor, Brianna, I think,
Free.
right?
Yeah, yeah,
Bree,
yeah,
Bree, Bree Piskor, Jim Mahfood, and Michelle Fife.
yeah.
And man, I gotta tell you, Jim opened up the memorial the same way he started every episode of Cartoonist Kayfabe and stuff like that, and when he would do panels. And I don't know about you, and we didn't talk about it, but I mean, it was chills, just chills for me.
No, yeah, yeah.
Hearing those words, and I think I've talked about it before. I haven't watched an episode of Cartoonist Kayfabe uh, since Ed passed, and I just haven't been ready for it. And so hearing that in person, it was just chills. But it was a really moving hour long memorial or so. They all just shared stories and stuff like that, and I'm just really happy I was able to be a part of it.
Hmm.
Um, I've met Jim before, but bought a couple things from him, and I gave him my super pack of books that I had for the show. And he was honestly the only I traded with a couple other people, but he was the only one that I was just like, here. And here's the thing, I'll be honest, I think in the past, every time I've given books to a professional or whatever, I I don't care. I don't care who you are. When you're doing that, you're thinking they're going to read these books and they're going to call me up or they're going to email me. Like this is somehow gonna help me. You
Mhm.
know, you want your heroes to see it and stuff like that, but in the back of your head, you're like, man, maybe this will turn into something. Uh, I gave him those books though, in all honesty, because the volume of work that I've produced this year would not. I don't want to say I wouldn't have done anything, but the sheer volume that I've done and the dedication that I've had this year is a direct result of kayfabe
Yeah.
and Jim and Ed, and it was like I just want you to have this because it wouldn't exist uh, without you. Um,
Right.
and it was just pure appreciation. Honestly, I don't care if he threw it in the garbage after that. I don't. I'm sure he didn't, but but it was just I just wanted him to have it,
Mm.
and but also we got to meet Ed's sisters and
Yep.
introduce ourselves, and we're going to be up in Pittsburgh in August for
Right.
Eddie Pecan. So that was great. They were really sweet.
Hmm.
Um, but it was it was a great show. Um,
Yeah.
I I I do want to I want to say this, and I'm not gonna name names, but when we're talking about shows, um, I was talking to another artist, and we were kind of talking a little bit of sales and everything, and they mentioned to me that I did okay, but you don't do this show for the sales. You do it to get in front of the big guys, and you do it for the networking. And uh and I wasn't going to argue with them or whatever, but I immediately was kind of just like, why? I think that's just such an old school way of thinking.
Yeah.
It's just not the way things are anymore. Um, Marvel doesn't do open submissions anymore. DC doesn't do open submissions anymore. Even quote unquote smaller publishers don't even accept submissions if you don't have an agent or something like that.
Hmm.
And that in no way means that I'm saying give up, don't do the show, don't do this.
Yeah.
That's not it. But I also think if you're doing a show of this size and expense, and your main goal is networking, why not just come as a guest? Why would you just not pay the $35 to come in on a day and bring some of your stuff and get in front of some of those people and give it away?
Yeah.
Um, I hate to tell, no one's impressed by the wristband on your wrist that you paid money to sit there, and the badge around around your neck, you know. Um, so I guess that's just that's my warning to people.
Well,
I don't think spending $325 to network is ridiculous to me.
well, no,
So
once again, when I leave the table, it's generally as a fan. I'm just flaky that way.
yeah,
Maybe I'm not business savvy that way. I'm taking a break from, trying to combat the artist alley dodge maneuvers, of which I think we documented about 19 distinct artist alley dodge maneuvers. Um,
yeah, we might do a whole episode on Artist Alley Dodges.
Yeah,
So
definitely there's gonna be a comic strip on it. But I
yeah,
believe in as a fan for the most part. And sometimes conversations come up with people, but I don't get the vibe that there's anyone sniffing around for new talent. There's any publisher out there that you're gonna, all of a sudden impressed, like freaking, Tom DeFalco, uh and he'll go, he'll go, oh, that guy owes me some favors, and go talk to, I just don't get the sense that's really happening that much. You might find people to collaborate with. You might find smaller publishers, and I'm not saying, I mean, shit, there could have been untold number of people who had their careers elevated last weekend at HeroesCon that we just don't know about because we're just two idiots who talk to each other on Zoom in a bubble. Who knows?
Yeah.
But um I just don't get the sense. And also, I don't see those portfolio review booths that used to be set up at conventions. Maybe they are at different shows, but it's not here, and that's fine. Um, you know, um, I having said that, I did have some fantastic interactions with people, sort of as a fan, but also as a fellow creative as I took my breaks and just took in the sights. Friday, I just kind of wandered um down the hall from our table, just seeing what was around, and I saw a banner that said Rick Parker. And I was like, well, holy crap, Rick Parker's right there, not too far. And I looked down and there's Rick Parker looking right at me. I was heading to the concession stand or whatever. I just give him a nod, keep going. Next thing I know, someone's yelling, Joe, Joe. And I feel like kind of a tap, kind of a pull on my shoulder. I turn around and it's Rick Parker. And he's going,
And he punches you in the face. You owe me money, you son of a bitch.
and he goes, Joe, whatever, you know. And I said, no, sorry, I'm Levi. He goes, oh, I'm sorry. And he goes, it's nice to meet you, though. you know, shook my hand. We kind of laughed at the situation. And then Sunday, I went around because I just kind of wanted to close the book on that interaction. And I mean, you know, Rick was one of the master letterers, and also a great artist, uh, very involved in Spider-Man comics, drew the Beavis and Butthead comics. And I just want to say, hey, about, recalled the Friday thing, and we laughed at it again, and then he talked to me, and he talked to me for a long time, and even people were lining up, and he looked over, says, I'll be with you guys in a second, and just kept talking to me about doing the damn thing, to be totally honest. So that was pretty dope.
Yeah.
um I became aware that Tom DeFalco and I share the same birthday. And so Sunday, before they started letting people in, I kind of like, I'm going around and oh, there he is. He's talking to Howard Mackey. They're standing up in front of their tables. Their tables were next to each other. Kind of hung out until they noticed I was waiting on them. And they said, are you looking to talk to one of us, both of us? And I said, well, you're both great. But actually, Mr. DeFalco, according to Wikipedia, we share a birthday. And he goes, June 26th. I'm like, yes, sir. And he holds his hand out and we shakes a hand. It's like, yeah, you're my editor in chief, from my time coming up in comics, yada, yada, yada. I mean, literally, chronologically, he's my, what are you shaking your head? Stop it.
I'm just thinking about you giving him COVID as all.
Yeah, didn't have it then.
Yeah.
um, yeah, fuck you. Uh, yeah. It's gonna say the comics industry, is in mourning because we've lost all these.
I know. Levi killed half the legacy people that were at
I
HeroesCon.
wiped out Marvel Comics. Um, but anyways, uh,
I'm sorry.
but DeFalco goes, who else shares the same birthday as Carla, the coordinator of this whole thing. I was like, oh, cool. I said I'm local. I'm familiar with the Heroes crew, and I did bump into Carla coming and going, and I said, Carla, you got a second? She goes, not really, but what you got? I said, this is gonna be really weird, but I know when your birthday is. What's even weirder is who told me, Tom DeFalco. She goes, that is really weird. I said, the reason why he told me is because I told him I share a birthday with him. And she goes, oh, you mean we're birthday buddies? And she fist bumped me, and we laughed about it. She went along her business. And those are the kind of stories that are fun that come out of
Yeah.
you know a show like this. Um,
Yeah.
Talked to Jim Mahfood, and reflected on the memorial, and also um Cosmic Toast that I picked up in the 90s from him in Kansas City. Um, you know, went to Michel Fife because I wanted to get the one of his books. And that was kind of funny because he was with Don Simpson, and they were kind of
Yeah.
talking, and Don was like he was talking about whatever, and he was just like shaking his fist like this, and I was kind of waiting for them to kind of get done.
I told you. I
They
told
noticed
you.
they noticed me, and he was still kind of right here, and then they noticed me, and I go like, I don't want any trouble, guys. And, they both started laughing.
I've heard about you, Don. I've heard
Yeah.
about you.
you know, but I talked to Michelle Fife, once again about the memorial stuff, but also like how, you reach people in different ways that you don't expect, and
Yeah.
and so it was great talking to him, you know, in that instance. Um,
Well, I'll are you done?
no,
I
yeah,
got
go, go,
something real
go.
quick.
Yeah, you
Okay.
bet.
So the best thing that happened to me uh the because of Heroes was I got an email on I don't remember, Monday or Tuesday, early this week, from someone who bought my book at the show, and just sent me an email saying, "Hey, we had a conversation. I bought your book. I just wanted to let you know that you've got a new fan. I love the book. Can't wait to get the rest of them." And this unexpected email
And how is your mom?
from that. Yeah, no, my mom would never ever send me that email. So but anyway, but that that and I told him, I emailed him right back. I'm like, you made my day.
Yeah,
Um and that is the kind of stuff, that's why you do shows,
that's exactly
to
it.
get those people that they weren't expecting to find you. You weren't expecting them to come up to your
Yep.
table, and to get those those new fans.
Yeah, like that family that we've gotten to know because
Right.
they come to
Because of
the
Rock, yeah, the
the York
library
County
con.
Library thing, and
Yeah, they came by.
they're at Heroes Con. I don't know if they've
Right.
ever gone to Heroes Con before.
Yeah. Right.
Um,
So
but seeing them, they sought us out and all that. I mean, those are the
yeah.
moments.
Yeah. No, but it was a great time. Like I said, we're probably going to do it next year.
I
We're
think so.
excited.
I,
So
there's a lot of other ways I could waste that kind of money, so why not, right?
yeah, yeah. I mean, it'll be one weekend I can't get hookers and weed. So hey, whatever.
And
Until then,
on that note, on that
just go
note,
do the damn thing.
hell yeah.